Hello and good afternoon. My name is Juergen Steinmetz, joining you from eTurbo News and Livestream.travel here in beautiful Honolulu. And with me, as always, is Dr. Peter Tarlow in College Station, Texas. It's a little bit of a cloudy but sunny, cloudy day. You know how we do this in Hawaii. It may be raining on one side of the pool, and the other side of the pool you can be in the sun, and it's hot. That's kind of this type of day we have. How are things in College Station?
Well, of course, it's night here now, but today was a cool day, but it was a sunny day, and it was a very pleasant day. So it was a really pretty winter day for Texas. It was in the 50-degree range, which would be around 14, 15 degrees Celsius. And blue skies, sunny, went for a long walk, did a lot of work today, so can't complain.
Oh, and it's... well, a lot of things going on. Of course, we're hearing COVID. Hawaii was just in the last 30 minutes declared a super high risk area. Just a week ago, we were medium. We went to high, we went to very high, and now we're above high with almost 1,000 new infections. About a year ago, 100 new infections caused an entire lockdown of the state. Now close to 1,000. It doesn't seem to be making such a difference because everything is open. And I hear the same as in New York and Washington, D.C. declared a state of emergency. And so did Holland is locking up, Austria is locking up, Switzerland is locking up. And I'm going to be going to Germany, and Germany is about to lock up, I think. So let's see where this all goes.
Yes. So Washington, D.C. about an hour ago declared a health emergency. And it's not exactly sure what that means. And I think there's maybe a number of things that are going on right now. One, I think we definitely are suffering from the world in COVID fatigue. And many people are just tired of it. They just don't want to hear about it anymore. Secondly, the Omicron variant, of course, viruses tend to get weaker as they go into variations. So it appears this variant, and of course it could change tomorrow, but right now appears to be a variant that spreads very quickly, but is not as dangerous as some of the other variants. In the United States, as of an hour ago, there was only one death, and that was a person with a pre-medical condition. And it's not even confirmed that it was the Omicron death. So the issue is, and I think this is really important from the travel industry, we're now often going into panics, and people could ask why we're going into panics. We don't close tourism when there is a cold. We don't close tourism when there is a set of influenza, but we do for the COVID. And this particular variant appears to be less dangerous than a cold or the flu. Now, that doesn't mean it won't become more dangerous, but right now, that's where we are at this very moment. So I think we have to really wonder, it's hard to travel right now. When I was in Ecuador last week, my plane leaves to the United States at 3 a.m. in the morning. And that meant, but the United States now insists you have to have a COVID test within 24 hours. So what does that mean? That means from 3 a.m. on Wednesday until 9 a.m., basically that was lost time to me. And then if I need to get a PCR test because I was stopping off in another country, a third country, it's really hard in just a few hours in not the first world to get a PCR test. So it really created a lot of anxiety and stress. And then the lines in Panama to get on the plane to the United States were incredibly long, and they checked each person over and over again. Now, I understand they want safety, but wow, if you're a family and you have children crying and you're in line for over an hour, it's not a fun experience. And then, of course, you have to wear a mask the whole time you're on a plane. I noticed now the president of Southwest Airlines said that masks on planes are like stopping a bullet with a chain link fence. So, the airline industry is really starting to push back a lot. And that's going to be a real fight now between, say, people like Dr. Fauci and some of the health organizations and some of the tourism organizations, which are really in conflict one with each other.
Yeah, Peter, of course, this is a very, very fast moving scenario. We only have Omicron for a very limited time. So coming to a conclusion is too early. I can tell you in a report by the BBC from December 16th, what was 4 days ago, in the United Kingdom, when they had only 85 cases, they reported 6 people died. So now the cases are 20,000, I think, today. It's just unreal. In the United Kingdom, it is just unreal how fast this is spreading.
How many deaths have come from those 20,000?
Well, I don't know. I was trying to Google it, but I found the latest article I found was December 16th, where they had a total of, let me just go back here, of 85 people in hospital and 6 people died. But keep in mind, this is new. So even if you had Omicron right from the very beginning and some of the few people, you don't die instantly, even if eventually you may die. You know, this is all the time. It's not in real time. And we shouldn't forget this.
Yeah,
and,
well, of course not. On the other hand, people are not going to stop traveling. You're traveling.
Absolutely.
You're getting on a plane tomorrow. And that means that the issue is, if you really were fearful, you wouldn't get on a plane. Now you're going to Europe, which is maybe the ground zero for Omicron. And I don't know that for sure. And again, I think you're right when we say that all this data is fast moving, and what's a truth today may not be a truth tomorrow. So I want to really emphasize that. But I think there's a certain amount of COVID fatigue within the public, and it may be willing to take greater risks because it's just tired of being locked down.
And I think you hit the nail here, Peter. It is just we're all tired. We want to travel. We want to get out. We were told, okay, you have the booster shot. You're safe. So let's hope for this. We don't know this for sure, but that's what I'm banking on. And I may not be the best example to the world because many of the leaders say don't travel, and I do travel. So I feel guilty. But people are taking calculated risks.
Yes, they are.
And we don't know what these risks are.
There's certain things that we can do, even when we travel. You can up your vitamin D. You can take vitamin C. You can make sure that you are wearing a mask when you're in the plane or in the terminal. You can try to get as much sunlight as possible and fresh air as soon as you get back to, land. Now, I realize in a place like Germany, in the winter, there probably is not a lot of sun, and they probably have a lot of gray skies and cold, or, and that makes it a little bit more difficult than if you're, say, I just came out of Guayaquil, Ecuador, when it wasn't raining, the sun was there all the time. But still, fresh air is really valuable, and take lots of fruit, lots of vitamin C, eat well, and drink lots of water. And those are things that, in the end, we're all in God's hands. So everyone's going to die of something. I just think the public doesn't want to be locked down anymore. I would not be at all surprised if we see riots take place in many European cities where people are saying enough. Especially right before Christmas, right before the holidays. And, people want to get out. They want to live their lives. And this is a real challenge for the tourism industry. The Christmas season, Christmas to New Year's, is a very important travel period, and around the world, or at least the Western world. And if people can't get out, wow, a lot of money is going to be lost, and people are going to be bankrupt and very stressed.
Yeah, and Peter, and there are more challenges even than COVID. Some areas are hit with other problems, like Turkey, for example, with a hyperinflation and evaluation of the Turkish lira. People don't have food to eat. They cannot afford it any longer. So what does this do for tourism? Tourism is open in Turkey. Anyone who wants to go to Turkey on vacation can do this. It's safe now. The corona numbers are really not that bad. But what about if you add riots to it and protests? So it's an uncertain world.
So if they don't have riots, Turkey is a great place to visit because it would be very inexpensive if you're traveling with dollars. I think a year ago, it was 7 lira to the dollar, and it's now 16 lira to the dollar.
Yes.
So, that makes it really inexpensive. On the other hand, there are lots of good things that are going on in the world. I just came back from Guayaquil, Ecuador, And Ecuador is getting ready for the Copa de los Libertadores, which is the second most important soccer or in your football event in the world after the World Cup. People will be participating from Mexico all the way to Argentina. And I'm working with them to try to develop a whole tourism, hopefully working with them to hopefully develop a whole tourism security plan. And what's important, and they're thinking this through correctly, you don't have security just for the purpose of an event, because you know what, life goes on the day after the event. So you use the event as a methodology to build security for the city and the days afterwards. And that's something that's often been failed to be done in when other major events have taken place. So I want to really salute Ecuador in that. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity for Ecuador to do lots of great things, clean its streets in ways that need to be done, show the beauty of the country, try to get as many people employed as possible. So these are the types of events that the tourism industry really needs. Ecuador is lucky it has a tourism minister who's very young and dynamic, and he's been interviewed by us. And he's working hard, especially on the whole issue of gastronomic tourism, cuisines, and promoting Ecuadorian foods. So these are things we need to, the world needs to concentrate on these items, because we're tired of just hearing crisis after crisis after crisis.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed our interview we had with the Minister of Tourism from Ecuador. And it's really refreshing to see young people who are really into this. I mean, he's a go. Yeah. And that's really what tourism needs. I guess that's what Ecuador needs. And if you wanted to watch this interview, go to our YouTube channel. Just click on our YouTube channel. It's linked from all our websites. Or when you go to WTN on past events and you find the interview, it's really worth watching.
Yeah. So that's, that's an event. Also, I've been busy with Mexico. And Mexico is really starting to come up with some very creative ideas to promote security, both on its beaches and within its more urban areas. And I can't really go into all the details right now, but I think the real issue is the tourism world has got to begin to take all forms of security seriously. And that means not only terrorism, which of course is always a potential issue. As you know, the United States today caught it coming across our southern border, a terrorist, and that was a major important breaking news. Unfortunately, the person came from the Middle East, but terrorism is an issue, but so is crime. Look at the terrible issues in the United States we're having with these smash and grab all across major cities in the United States, where people, Nostrums has been just attacked multiple times. And people are leaving, for example, California, because businesses cannot function if your place is being stolen. But those types of crimes are all over. But we also have to think of security for special events and what we're now calling biosecurity. In other words, making sure that people are healthy and that they're able to go to the beach or go shopping and not worry about being attacked, mugged, or have the item stolen. Those are all things without that tourism cannot survive.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right, Peter. But we're getting into the Christmas season. It's supposed to be a season of peace and love. So it's going to be a season of stress this year, I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And we just have to get through it. So let's hope in a year the world is looking a little bit brighter.
Yeah, in the Northern Hemisphere, it may be a very dark winter. On the other hand, we just celebrated Hanukkah and we're now celebrating Christmas. And both of those holidays work up on the theory of light. And one of the nice things about it just takes one candle filled with light to defeat a room of darkness. And in this case, in the world of tourism, the light of creating good security, of people caring about each other, of trying to come up with creative ideas, maybe can destroy the darkness that COVID has brought over so much of the world. So this is a real chance for us to kind of smile, go out of your way in the tourism industry to say hello to people. If you're in Hawaii, say aloha. But you don't have to be in Hawaii to say aloha. You can say it any place in the world. And smile, show people you care. Because if you care, then you know what? No matter how bizarre these few years are, it's really a good time for us to remember we're all part of one human family. And tourism is all about bringing people together and making people care about each other and understanding the other person and the other culture.
No, Peter, you're so right. And it's a good message, I think, to get into the holidays. And those that haven't sent their holiday greeting to eTurbo News yet, just click on the link and you can actually have your greeting published. It's free. And you can tell and share your wishes to your fellow industry colleagues. And Peter, I wish you
thank you.
A very Merry Christmas. I know you don't celebrate Christmas, but we all do.
Right. You wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, but if you really go around the world, I just got Merry Christmas wishes from Indonesia, from Thailand, from people who are Buddhist, or people who are Muslim. Yeah. I think everyone kind of, it's a holiday season, you know, and it really doesn't make any difference if you're part of the religious belief of this holiday. It's a new year, it's a holiday. We all have to find a season where we're looking forward to something.
So you're leaving tomorrow for Germany. Tell us, what do you expect on your flight going to Germany tomorrow? Do you just see this is going to be difficult, or are you looking forward to just an easy flight?
Well, I can tell you it's already starting to become quite complicated. I'm flying on Lufthansa tomorrow to Munich. And Lufthansa
from Hawaii, straight from Hawaii?
No, from San Francisco. I'm going to San Francisco here. And Lufthansa sent me a email, wanted me to fill out a form, what is needed 12 hours before you board the flight. And it apparently, I don't know what the form will eventually ask me because I cannot get to the form, but I assume it's about vaccination certificates or tests or whatever it might be. Now, when you click on it, you have to put in your booking code and your name. And in my case, it cannot find a record. When you put in the ticket number, it's the other option, it cannot find a record. When you try to call Lufthansa yesterday, I tried it. I was on hold for 7 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
So I called the 24-hour line in Germany directly, and it only took 1 hour long distance to hold with them.
And you had to pay for a long distance call to Germany?
Yeah, you had to pay for it. Obviously, it's not that expensive these days anymore. But the response I got is that they're not allowed to give information on COVID restrictions, and they cannot really help me. I should go to a government website. When I then said, okay, but you're sending me a form, it's on the Lufthansa.com website, and this form doesn't work. Don't you think it's your responsibility to correct this so I can do what you asked me to do? And she said, well, that's a technical department and I have to call them Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. So you cannot win anymore. And customer service obviously is becoming an issue everywhere. And today we did an article on the United States now increasing the number of work visas for foreigners that wanted to do the jobs Americans apparently don't want to do anymore. What is customer service, hospitality industry. So we're letting people in now from abroad to fill these jobs. So hopefully that will help. So we can get
not if they don't want to really do good. They may want a job, but they may not want to do customer service. So we have to make sure they actually want to give good customer service. Interestingly enough, when you talked about what happened on the Lufthansa, when I was flying to Ecuador, I did everything correctly. And then in Panama, they said to me, you cannot board the Copa flight. And I said, why can't I? They said, well, you have to there's a new form that has to be filled out. So they gave me it has to be done online. So I went online, and of course, the form didn't work. And now I'm like panicking because I'm leaving in 1 hour and I can't, do this form. And so I went to someone in the Copa Club, in one of the lounges, and she tried to help, and it also wouldn't work for her. Luckily, just luckily, they had them in paper forms. And so I could fill it out on paper. Then when I got on the plane, I discovered half the people couldn't get the forms to work. So Copa had to provide forms on the plane so that you could and you need the forms to board, but we were already flying, but there was nothing we could do. So we all had to fill out the forms on the plane to give us permission to be on the plane of which we were flying. So I think this, there's too much stuff online. And when something goes down, there's nobody to speak to. I think we need to be able to run things off on paper and go back to sometimes simple is better. And one of the big problems I see in tourism is we're increasing stress the more we put stuff just on the webs. I know it's cheap, I know it's easy, and it takes responsibility away, but people are going to stop flying or stop traveling if the stress levels are too high. And I hope you'll be able to get on your Lufthansa flight.
Well, I'm lucky. I had my first reservation was through London. I'm going to Düsseldorf, what is really shorter to go from San Francisco to London and fly for 1 hour to get to Düsseldorf. And I changed it. I'm going through Munich, what's actually a little bit longer, a few minutes, I guess. I'm lucky I did this because Germany closed the borders to the UK.
Right.
And even if you manage to get on this flight to Germany, it would mean mandatory 2-week quarantine, regardless whether you're vaccinated or not. So I'm lucky I don't have to face this.
Yeah, now that's going to be an interesting thing. I wonder if the United States is going to have mandatory quarantine, but of course you'll be home so you can work from your house.
Well, we went through this before, Peter.
Yes. So you're getting used to it. And luckily you have a pretty view of Honolulu, so it could be worse. Well, listen, I hope you have a really safe and COVID-free experience. I hope Germany doesn't close its borders, and I hope you're able to not be in lockdown while you're in Germany. And maybe we'll be able to do a program while you're there. How long will you be in Germany for?
No, I'm going to be there till the 30th, and of course we're going to do a program.
Okay, so we'll be able to do so you'll be able to report directly from the heart of Europe. Absolutely. And talking about what life is like on the European continent, and we'll do bicontinental. So I'll be in the United States and in North America. You'll be in Europe. And to all our friends around the world, we don't know when our next will be, before or after Christmas, but we do want to wish everyone really happy holidays and a really happy new year. And let's hope that 2022 is a year where we're all healthy, we have some prosperity back, and COVID is something in our rearview mirror, something in the past.
Well said, Peter. And anyone who wanted to watch this session again, or he wasn't able to to see it on our live stream, you can go to our YouTube channel. You find it there, or you can go to eTober News and click on YouTube, and you can watch it over and over and over again. So
happy holidays to everybody.
Hopefully we can watch it in a year and see, oh my God, it was really a bad time a year ago. So it's so much better now. So let's hope.
Well, let's hope that everyone has a really happy and healthy holiday.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Peter, and thank you for everyone
watching here today.
Hey, Travis.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.